Hi. So sometimes when you're collaborating with somebody on a music production project in Cubase, you have the situation where you receive multiple takes of the same part that you still want to comp in Cubase. So basically you have a lot of audio files and you want to combine them on one single track in the lanes that Cubase provides on the track for comping. So how do you get them there? Well, let's go. So recently I did a video on Suno AI, which is an AI service that can produce full songs for you, including vocals. And I think it generated one really nice song for me that I'm trying to fully reproduce now in Cubase. And if you want to see that video, I'll provide a link at the end of this one. But for the vocal part that is in that song, I found a female vocalist on Fiverr, asked her to provide a couple of different vocal parts, like a lead vocal, a harmony vocal, a double, and some ad-libs. And she sent over lots of takes for all those parts. The idea being, of course, that I could then combine all those takes and comp them into the perfect part. But how do you actually do that in Cubase? Let's have a look. Now these are 4 takes of the lead vocal that she provided. Let's have a short listen.
In the shadows, afraid to let my light shine. But now I'm stepping into the spotlight, breaking free from my own mind.
Yeah, so they're very similar, but I still want the ability to comp them on one track in Cubase. And by the way, this video is not about how to comp a vocal in Cubase, because I made a separate video about that, which I'll link in the description, so you can check it out after you finish this one. But for getting all these separate parts onto one track in the lanes, there's not really a dedicated function in Cubase for that. So let's see what I did. What I initially tried was just moving these 3 vocal takes to the lanes on the first track. So that actually does work. So I can just pick up this track here, move it to lane 2 over here. If I keep Control pressed on my keyboard, I cannot move it horizontally, so I know it's in the right location. And if I let go, you see that Cubase actually puts it all on the first lane. So what you can then do is drag it over again to the second lane, and I have 2 lanes. Well, the same thing can be done over here, of course. Again, it puts it on the first lane, drag it to lane 3, again holding Control to make sure that it doesn't move horizontally. Same thing with the last take, drag it over here, drag it back to a lane. And I have what I wanted, basically all the vocal takes on one track, so I can now start comping. But she actually provided a lot more takes than I'm showing you here in the example, also for a number of different parts. So I figured there must be a better way to do this. So I had a look at the Cubase forum to see if anybody had found a nice way to actually do this a bit more comfortably. And I found a couple of posts about this, so I figured, well, let's make a video about it so you all know it as well. Let's have a look. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of all of these tracks and start from the tracks which are currently in my pool already. Control P opens the pool, audio, and you can see that I have lead vocal 2 to 5 in the Cubase pool. So the first step in this method is that I put the project cursor in the location where I want to insert the vocal tracks. Well, and that's easy because that's just at the beginning of the project. So I put the cursor at the beginning of the project. Then I can select all these takes over here and drag them to where I want them. Cubase will then ask me, do you want them on different tracks or on one track? Well, I want them on one track. I actually want them on the lanes of that one track, but that's not something that you can do directly. So I just specify one track over here. And if we zoom out a little bit now, you can see that Cubase has actually put them one after the other on the single track. Now the next step is, of course, that I want all of them to start at the beginning of the project. And there's 2 steps that are necessary for that. I can go to Edit, Move, Events to Origin, which moves them all to the original location, which is in the WAV file. And it looks like they have now disappeared, but somehow the original location in the WAV file is a very high number. So you can see that they're all at the very end. You can check that in the pool, the original location. Origin time is somehow it's in bar 1801. I'm not sure why it is that high, but at least they end up in the same location. So the next step is to go Edit, Move, Events, Starts to Cursor. So now you can see that they're all at the beginning of the project. Let's zoom in a bit. But if I open my lanes, you can see that they're all on the same lane at this moment. So there's one more step in this process. You can right click on the lane and then say Clean Up Lanes. And there you go, you have all your vocal takes on one track in Cubase in different lanes, and you can start comping. Now if you like this video or find it useful at all, please give it a big thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm so it gets spread to more people. Subscribe to the channel and ring the little bell icon if you want to get notified when I publish another video. Or if I really saved you a lot of time with this video, you can always show your appreciation via the super thanks button below or by buying anything through the affiliate links in the description to one of these stores, in which case I will get a small commission of your purchase without any extra cost to you. Highly appreciate it. But let's get back to the video. Now, what I just showed you still takes a bit of clicking around, of course, right? But you can, of course, also add all of these steps to a Cubase macro. Let's have a look at that. Because if I open my key commands here via Edit Key Commands, you can see that I have a macro defined here called Move to Lanes. And I added a shortcut key for it, Ctrl-Shift-L. And this one now has all the actions that I just showed you individually. For the audio, move events to origin, then move events to start to cursor, and then clean up lanes. So let's have a look at what you need to do now. So step 1 is to make sure that you import the audio where you want it. Let's say I want it on bar 2 this time. Then you drag in the audio, and this time I'm dragging it in directly from the Windows Explorer to show you that that works as well. Drag it to, well, I can basically drag it to any position I want. Let's just drag it to bar 9. Cubase will ask me, do I want these on one track or different tracks? Well, I want them on one track, right? And yes, I want to copy all files to the project folder, and I want to convert them to the project settings. And now you have all takes one after the other on one track. And if I now push my macro button, Ctrl-Shift-L, you can see that they're now all on separate lanes, and they start at the project cursor location, which was at bar 2. Yeah, so this was a bit of a shorter video than usual, but I hope it was useful to you, and I hope that it will enhance your workflow whenever you get some tracks in that you want to put on lanes of one track so that you can comp them. Now, in the beginning of the video, I mentioned that I was doing this for some vocal parts that I got via Fiverr for a track that was created by Suno AI. And if you want to know more about Suno AI, I have the video up here. Check it out, enjoy, and see you soon.